In 1981, there was a review of my fifth novel, The Hotel New Hampshire, in the Washington Post, written by Robertson Davies. He made this a review of all my characters, or what was repetitive in all my novels. My wife and I still agree it may have been the most favorable description of my writing ever. There is something of Byron about John Irving. Nothing in life is easy for Irving's characters, and in his novels, the still sad music of humanity rises to the orgasmic uproar of a rock band. Well, that's pretty good. I can live with that, shall we say. I was also impressed that, unlike a lot of reviewers, he was speaking of my novels collectively. He was a real reader, he'd done his homework, not just reading the book he was reviewing. And to top it all off, regarding the fate of my characters, he even said I reminded him of the Victorians because of what he called a rueful fatalism. Okay, I can't tell you, I honestly don't remember how long it took me to get up the nerve to write to him, to find the proper way to write him, more than to thank him for this review, but for giving me evidence that there was this possibility of being a 19th century writer in the times we lived in. He was the living example of it. I'd asked if it might be possible if I could take him to lunch. There was a kind of dear boy, grandfatherly, stern grandfatherly answer to my letter. He wrote back and invited me to his club. He said, I would be happy to have lunch or dinner with you. Before setting out for Toronto, there was the problem that I broke a toe, my big toe, in wrestling practice. Not only was I limping, but none of my shoes would fit. The only shoe that was comfortable for me to wear was my oldest son's wrestling shoe. It looks like a basketball high-top sneaker, but it is as flimsy as a ballet slipper. So there I was, well-dressed, except for the fact that I look like I'm wearing clown shoes. My shoes look like Donald Duck. The shoes I'm wearing are so much bigger than I am. And not surprisingly, they were with a judicious eye, where Professor Davies' eyes first went. And he again, in a stern but grandfatherly way, was most forgiving. From there was a friendship between this much younger and much older writer. When I met my wife, Janet, who was then my Canadian publisher for the Cider House Rules, and when we fell in love and were married, he very graciously accepted to read at our wedding, provided he could bring his own copy of the Bible. He knew well the passage that was appropriate, but he would only read it in the King James Version. He was not just embracing of my work, but he was, as I said, a living example of the kind of writer I wanted to be.